economic issues as relatively unimportant. In 1922, Hitler proclaimed that world history teaches us that no one has become great through its economy, but that people can very well perish thereby. He later concluded that the economy is something of secondary importance.
Sie hatten diese Vorstellung, dass menschliche Ereignisse von kleinen Gruppen von bemerkenswerten Menschen, die einem höheren Ideal folgten, geführt wurden. Wirtschaftliche Besorgnisse waren bloß dinglich und so der Aufmerksamkeit diesen Leuten nicht würdig. Hitler klagte, dass all die Landesregierungen seit Bismarck ganz Deutschland zum Materialismus zwangen, da sie sich auf friedlichere Wirtschaftsentwicklungen verlassen haben und sich nicht trauten, die Ökonomie durch Krieg zu erweitern.
The original 25-point program of the party adopted in 1920 listed several economic demands, including the abolition of all incomes unearned by work, the ruthless confiscation of all work profits, the nationalization of all business which have been formed into corporations, profit sharing in large enterprises, extensive development of insurance for old age, and land reform suitable to our nation's requirement. But the degree to which the Nazis supported this program in later years has been questioned. Hitler clearly believed that the lack of precise economic program was one of the Nazi Party's strengths, saying, "The basic features of our economic theory is that we have no theory at all." His views on economics, beyond his early belief that the economy was of secondary importance, are a matter of debate. On the other hand, he proclaimed in one of his speeches that we are socialists, we are enemies of today's capitalistic economic system. But he was clear to point out that his interpretation of socialism was nothing to do with the Marxian socialism, saying that Marxism is anti-property, true socialism is not.
Sicherlich, der Reichsminister für Wirtschaftsbelange fühlte die Anspannung. Kurt Schmidt wusste, dass er von der SA verhasst wurde. In den Kneipen, die von den Einheiten der Sturmabteilung besucht wurden, wurde das Horst-Wessel-Lied mit folgenden neuen Worten angestimmt. Die Preise hoch, Kartelle fest geschlossen, das Kapital marschiert mit leisem Schritt, die Börsianer sind Parteigenossen und für das Kapital sorgt nun Herr Schmidt.
Schmidt was one of the few finance ministers to take advantage of the freedom provided by the end of the gold standard to keep interest rates low and government budget deficits high. With massive public works funded by large budget deficits, that is, when spending exceeds income over a particular period of time. Meanwhile, the Nazis outlawed trade unions and banned strikes. They set up a form of military Keynesianism, that is, devoting large amounts of spending to the military in an effort to increase economic growth. The program was supported once again by deficit spending. In 1936, military spending in Germany exceeded 10% of GNP, higher than any other European country at the time, after years of limitations imposed by the Versailles Treaty. Military investment also exceeded civilian investment from 1936 onwards.
Das Jahr 1936 war ein Wendepunkt in der deutschen Handelspolitik. Hitlers Leutnant Hermann Goering wurde Finanzminister mit dem Mandat, Deutschland unabhängig zu machen und innerhalb von 4 Jahren einen Krieg zu kämpfen. Unter Goering wurden Importe drastisch gesenkt, Löhne und Preise wurden kontrolliert, unter der Strafe ins Konzentrationslager geschickt zu werden. Dividenden wurden auf 6% vom Kapital gesenkt und strategische Ziele, die bei allen Kosten gelten sollten, wurden vereinbart. Der Bau von Fabriken für synthetisches Gummi, mehr Stahlfabriken, automatische Textilfabriken.
World prices for raw material, which constituted the bulk of German imports, were on the rise. At the same time, world prices for manufactured goods, Germany's chief exports, were falling. The result was that Germany found it increasingly difficult to maintain a balance of payments. A large trade deficit seemed almost inevitable, but Hitler found this prospect unacceptable. So Germany, following Italy's lead, began to move away from partially free trade in the direction of economic self-sufficiency. The chief point of the Nazi regime was to enforce a direction of autarky through its agriculture policy. Unlike Italy, however, Germany did not strive to achieve full autarky. Hitler was aware of the fact that Germany lacked reserves of raw material, and full autarky was therefore impossible. Thus, he chose a different approach. The Nazi government tried to limit the number of its trade partners, and when possible, only trade with countries within the German sphere of influence. A number of bilateral trade agreements were signed between Germany and other European countries, mostly countries located in the southern and southeastern Europe, during the 1930s. The German government strongly encouraged trade with these countries, but strongly discouraged trade with any other countries.
So Germany created a very peculiar economic model in the Hitler years. They, in a sense, strived for industrial and agricultural autarky, when such a model could not be sustained by the German economy. And in addition, the government was spending vast amounts of money that it did not have towards the rearmament program. This overheating of the German economy, caused by rearmament, in addition to the discontent of the working class in terms of lowered living standards and industrial unrest, led to Hitler being forced to go to war at a time and place not of his own choosing. And yet, one could say that from the very beginning, Hitler had engineered the German economy towards rearmament in a manner that it could only be a conquest economy and could only sustain itself in a parasitic manner. It was a parasitic economy, which had to be parasitic in order to survive.
So, would you say in the end, Mr. Steinkarten, that the Nazi economic model in the years between 1933 and 1939 was sustainable?
It's difficult to say due to the outbreak of World War II, but Hitler was not looking for a sustainable economic model. He wanted one that could effectively produce conquests in the East. But I think if he did not go to war eventually, the economy would have collapsed. So no, we are not talking about a sustainable economic model.
We all live in a yellow submarine.